Thank you for joining us for Okaloosa Eye on Crime. I'm Michelle Nicholson.
And I'm Nicole Wagner, and on this month's edition, we spotlight two apparently connected armed robberies, the anniversary of a fatal hit-and-run in Destin, and many more.
And we're also going to highlight a new local law enforcement charity effort, one that should have some wide-ranging, very positive repercussions. But we're going to start with what is now a 12-year-old case that law enforcement officers are never going to give up on.
That's right, and maybe this year will be the year that someone steps forward with that one piece of information that will help them solve the crime.
It's been 10 years since a car collided with 15-year-old Shelly Metters as she got ready to cross Highway 98 in Destin. 10 years of hoping each day for a break in this deadly unsolved hit and run.
Shelly and two of her friends were on the sidewalk on Highway 98 across from the gas station next to Big Kahuna's. As they were standing on the sidewalk, three girls stopped. Shelly turned her back to traffic while standing on the sidewalk so one of the girls could tie her halter. And while she was tying her halter, a vehicle of some sort came up on the sidewalk and hit two of the girls. The third one saw the car coming and actually was able to avoid being contacted.
Shelly, however, died the next day. In the 10 years that have passed, the Sheriff's Office has chased down every possible lead. Recently, the case was turned over from the Traffic Homicide Unit to the Criminal Investigations Cold Case Division. The Sheriff's Office is sending out pleas for any tidbit of information on who might be responsible. Emerald Coast Crime Stoppers is once again featuring billboards on Shelly's case. Investigators, like Shelly's mom, who comes to Destin each year to focus attention on this tragedy involving her daughter, will never stop hoping for that phone call or email that changes everything.
That it's just our fight to try to get someone to speak up so we can get justice for her. And that's been my main goal since the beginning. It's, really important to our family, my children. She's got a twin brother, a sister, another brother, and nieces and nephews that we just all, every day, she's still an everyday part of our lives. There's not a day that goes by that we don't talk about Shelly.
A decade later, there are still hopes that keeping Shelly in the public's attention will jog a memory or spark someone's desire to come clean. If you have any information on the hit and run, please contact the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office at 850-651-7400 or Emerald Coast Crime Stoppers at 850-863-TIPS. Now again, that was a Cold Case Chronicle that we first aired back in 2012, 2 years ago. What was then the 10-year anniversary, it is now the 12-year anniversary of the case.
That's right, and there is additional reward money available in that case that was raised by the victim's mother. So I believe the total is now up to $7,000. So anybody with information, of course, you can report it anonymously to us, or you can contact the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office.
Yes, speaking of never giving up, her mom certainly has never given up. So
That's right.
There are still hope that somebody out there's got something that's going to break this case.
Right. And the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office is still investigating two February armed robberies. Now, the first one took place back on February 16th, about 9:20 in the evening. A pizza delivery guy for Hungry Howie's attempted to deliver food at a home on Placid Drive. Now, he says a black male that was holding a rifle came at him from a wooded area across the street, and he was accompanied by a white male with a knife. Now, the black male grabbed the pizza bag and took his cash. Victim said both appeared to be between 18 and 25 years of age. Now, within 30 minutes, the Sheriff's Office received another call of a robbery, this time at the Subway restaurant on 231 Racetrack Road. Also a black male who was accompanied by a white male. Clerk says the black male pointed the rifle at him, demanded money, then took some cash, and they both left. He says the man was wearing a black long-sleeve shirt or jacket and black jeans. He also described the white male as wearing a gray bomber-style jacket with black fabric on the shoulders and black jeans, Nike tennis shoes, and we do have some video of the robbery, so take a look. It's also on our YouTube channel, so you can check it out anytime.
Now, on this next case, we have so many bicycle thefts in the area in Okaloosa, Walton County. Here's one that Walton County deputies are working, trying to get information about the theft of a custom bicycle back on June 24th from Robbins Bikes and Fitness on Emerald Coast Parkway in Miramar Beach. Now, I'm going to read you a description of this bike that bicyclists out there, this will make sense to you, everyone else maybe not. But the bike's a 2014 S-Works Epic small frame, cranks, XTR shifters, pink cables. It's got an SRAM Guide RSC hydraulic disc brakes, black brake cables, pink headset spacers, pink valve caps. Goes on to say SWAT box, Garmin reverse computer mount, Shimano XTR pedals, don't even know if I said that right, S-Work fast track front, and a Renegade rear. That's all Chinese to me, but there's a picture of it, so people that are bikers are certainly going to know what all of that is. And if you don't, there's a picture to look at. But if you've got any information on who may have taken this custom bicycle, which is probably worth quite a bit of money, then you need to give Emerald Coast Crime Stoppers a call.
And next up, the Fort Walton Beach Police Department is searching for a shooting suspect. This happened on July 11th at about 12:30. They received a 911 call reference to some shots fired at the Caches Pirates Cove. They're located at 31 Beale Parkway. Now, officers arrived on the scene and they did find evidence of a shooting, but at the time there was no victim. Now, a short time later, they learned that a shooting victim was at Fort Walton Beach Medical Center in the emergency room. They did respond and confirmed that the black male was the victim of the shooting, but they don't have a whole lot of other information in this case. So if you have any information about the shooting, you can contact the Fort Walton Beach Police Department, or of course you can contact Emerald Coast Crime Stoppers anonymously at 863-TIPS.
And also the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office is looking for information connected to 2 storage unit burglaries that took place back on May 31st at Personal Mini Storage on Airport Road in Destin. Now, in one of the burglaries, nearly $2,000 in equipment ranging from tools to amplifiers was missing. In the second one, the victim last at the unit about 3 weeks earlier. When he came the next time, discovered that a pressure washer was missing from inside, valued at about $300. We've had storage unit burglaries in the past. Of course, the Sheriff's Office caught that suspect. There was a rash of those, but it seems like someone's up to the same sort of scheme again. So if you have any information on that, call Crime Stoppers, text Crime Stoppers. Of course, you get emeraldcoastcrimestoppers.com, or you can contact the Sheriff's Office. That's
right. And the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office is also trying to find out who stole about $1,000 worth of oysters. Now, this was during a recent vehicle burglary in Destin. The victim parked his truck and trailer in a lot near Mountain and Benning Drive, and when he returned on the 13th of July, well, he parked it there on July 11th. When he returned on the 13th, he discovered someone had damaged the lock on the rear door of the trailer and had stolen about 12 gallons of oysters, which had belonged to Louisiana Langyap and Seafood in Destin. Now, anybody with information about the oyster thief, give us a call. That's kind of a new one. We don't see that every day.
No, you don't see that every day, and a lot of questions pop up with that. I mean, is this somebody that they're going to consume 12 gallons full of oysters? Are they going to try and sell them to a local restaurant? If so, somebody out there might have some information, because it is a bit unusual. It'd be interesting to see how they had loaded all that up and kept it cool and safe. But a lot of questions there. Hopefully somebody out there has got some answers on that. We've also got the Walton County Sheriff's Office trying to identify 2 men who stole sunglasses from Solstice in Miramar Beach on May 23rd. We've got video that shows 2 men entering the store around 3:30 p.m. They walked around for about 15 minutes trying on different sunglasses, but then one of them picked up a pair and placed it in his shorts pocket. They say these were Ray-Ban sunglasses. He walked out of the store without paying for them. Both of the men in the store in their 20s with dark hair.
And don't forget, you could also go to the Emerald Coast Crime Stoppers website, emeraldcoastcrimestoppers.com, and our Facebook page. These and many more cases are on there. Feel free to browse, and also several ways for you to submit anonymous tips. Now, protecting and serving for many law enforcement personnel means a lot more than just responding to calls or patrolling neighborhoods to watch out for potential dangers.
That's so true. The Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office and many other agencies, in fact, are actively involved in supporting local charities and organizations. The Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office has started its own internal charity to focus on, I would say, maximizing the potential to give back on multiple levels.
And so what we did with Star Charities is we can, as our independent charity, our agency, and the board members that sit on that Star Charities, which are made up of all our agency members, can decide on what is the appropriate response to whatever issue arises with our employees and their families. I mean, you, as an employee of the Sheriff's Office, get to decide who it is that you want to receive your volunteer hours, who it is you want to receive your monetary contribution, who it is that, you know, some people's, their families are affected by cancer, some are affected by heart disease, some are affected by diabetes or muscular dystrophy or any number of issues that they feel more strongly about. And so through this charity, you get to decide which one that you want to help the most, or if you want to help them all. I mean, we are big supporters of United Way and all the multitude of things that they do and the various agencies, service providers that they support. So it's one of those things that we feel like we're in better control of the volunteer hours, the monetary contributions, and the things that we care about through this charity.
On April 17th, Megan went to her doctor, and her doctor notified her that she needed to go to the Fort Walton Beach Medical Center. She didn't call me because I was working midnight shift, so when I got to shift briefing, she called and said that she was at Fort Walton Beach Medical Center. She ended up going from Fort Walton Beach Medical Center to Sacred Heart. The doctor said that there was an issue with with Lily, and they were worried, so they wanted to send her to Sacred Heart since they had the intensive care unit out there. We went out there, and on the 21st, we stayed out there for three or 4 days, and on the 21st, that's when they decided to do an emergency C-section, and Lily was born.
Okay, now how early was Lily?
28 weeks, 5 days. That's her gestation age. It was great. You know, everybody says, oh, the Sheriff's Office is like a family, the Sheriff's Office is like a family, and it is. But I never expected to have anything or request any kind of donations. But when the chaplain showed up, the undersheriff called, and having that money that I didn't even really see, it went straight to another charity. I mean, it really did feel like a family. I felt a weight just lifted off my shoulders. I didn't have to worry about anything, at least the Ronald McDonald House. I could focus on Lily and my wife, Megan. So it was a really wonderful thing.
And they wanted to let the general public know that you're also welcome to get involved with this new charity. It's a 501c charity, of course, all the donations tax-free. You can call the Sheriff's Office for more information, 850-651-7400, or you can make a donation to this address, OCSO Sheriff Star Charities, Inc., Post Office Box 944 in Shalimar, 32579.
And now to a familiar part of the show. We're going to run down a list of some of the people that are wanted by local law enforcement agencies that haven't been able to locate as of today's taping date, which is July 18th. And of course, if you have any information about their whereabouts and it leads to an arrest, you could be eligible for a reward of up to $3,000.
And don't forget, you can tip those, you can call in those tips with the phone number, of course, and you can email them, as you said, but you can also text them. It's tip 214 plus your message to crimes. Crimes translates to 274-637. And actually, you had mentioned to me that a lot of tips now coming in via text.
That's right. Text and web seem to be the popular way to get us information, and we'll take any of them.
Yeah, no excuse to say you can't find a way to get it in.
Right.
Well, so no matter what method you choose, it's completely anonymous, and you can, as she mentioned, earn up to $3,000 now, which is a recent hike and the amount of possible reward. Now we're going to go through that first list of fugitives. We're going to start off with Jonathan David McNabb. He's 21 years old, and he's wanted by the Fort Walton Beach Police Department for aggravated battery and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. McNabb was last known to live over on Park Circle in Fort Walton Beach.
32-year-old Matthew James Gagner wanted for violation of probation on 2 counts of burglary, grand theft, principal to fraud, and passing forged or altered bill, last known to live on 23rd Street up in Niceville.
This last person was last known to live in Fort Walton Beach. It's Joseph Jamel Davenport. He's wanted for hit and run, leaving the scene of an accident involving damage, as well as fleeing and eluding, resisting arrest, and possession of marijuana.
Next up is Larry Neal Brown II, who's 35 years old. He's wanted by the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office for violation of probation on the original charges of aggravated battery with a deadly weapon, criminal mischief, and battery, last known to live on Angela Lane in Mary Esther.
And another person from Mary Esther, Sean Lee Goodwin, wanted for violation of probation for possession of a controlled substance, possession of drug paraphernalia, a misdemeanor larceny added in as well.
Juan Ramon Marquez, who was last known to live on John Quill Avenue over in Fort Walton Beach, he is wanted by the Fort Walton Beach Police Department for trafficking in stolen property.
Christina Blair Carroll was last known to live over in Panama City. She's 29 years old, but she's wanted for violating probation for trafficking in stolen property, providing false information to a pawnbroker, and grand theft.
29-year-old Ernest Tom Goodman Jr., who's wanted by the Crestview Police Department for aggravated battery and larceny, last known address was in Crestview.
Also, Emerald Coast Crime Stoppers hoping you have information on Sonny Everett Maurice Taylor. He's wanted for failure to appear on possession of a controlled substance, driving with a license suspended or revoked, criminal mischief, and non-payment of child support.
And the Walton County Sheriff's Office is looking for 25-year-old Ronald Wesley Lewis for aggravated stalking, and his last known address was over in Pensacola.
Next up, Roderick James Ruderson Jr., 33 years old, wanted for possession of synthetic narcotics within 1,000 feet of a school and failure to appear on a driving with license suspended or revoked. He was last known to live on Mooney Road in Fort Walton Beach.
54-year-old Brian Edwards Babbs Sr., who's wanted by the Walton County Sheriff's Office for a violation of probation on the original charge of driving while license suspended or revoked, last known to live in Freeport.
And here's what it's all about with the next person, Richard Earl King. King has been located, and that's thanks to a tip.
But we're still looking for 39-year-old Mark Robert Fitzgerald, who's wanted for grand theft and contracting without a license, last known to live in Santa Rosa Beach.
A big thank you going out to whoever contacted Emerald Coast Crime Stoppers, reference Johnny Dwayne Sparks Sr. He's also been located thanks to a tip to Crime Stoppers.
And the Walton County Sheriff's Office is looking for Nathaniel Brian Morris, who's wanted for violation of probation for grand theft auto.
Still out there somewhere, though, Edward J. Stanley, 37, wanted by Walton County Sheriff's Office, failure to appear on multiple counts of uttering a forged instrument and grand theft.
Casey Lynn Sokop, whose last known address was in Freeport, is wanted for violation of probation on the original charge of grand theft.
Lots of multiple charges on a lot of these folks here. This is Michael Madison Matthey. Matthey's wanted for dealing in stolen property and providing false statement of ownership to a pawnbroker.
And some more good news, Devontae Keon Thomas has been located since our last show.
Not so, though, for Mark Stephen Hansford, wanted for altering a bank bill or note, as well as a count of theft.
And still looking for 26-year-old Carlos Urbina Suarez, who's wanted by Walton County for larceny and burglary.
32-year-old Katina Moore is wanted for violation of probation on a charge of grand theft.
Next up, did you know that the first American sheriff was elected in the 1600s? Now, the Florida Sheriff's Association put together a short animated video of the history of the position, which dates back to 800 AD.
Let's check that out.
Where did the word sheriff come from? To understand the origin, we must travel back to what is known today as England, where the term reeve referred to a chief or leader, and the term shire described groups of hundreds of people banded together, which is what we would today call a county. So it makes sense that the leader of a shire was called the shire reeve, who was appointed by noblemen and kings to maintain peace and tranquility. This term eventually evolved into the modern word sheriff. The role of sheriff came into existence around the 9th century, which makes the sheriff the oldest continuing non-military law enforcement entity in history. English settlers traveled across the Atlantic and brought with them the office of sheriff. The first American sheriff was elected in 1651. Over the next few centuries, American sheriffs gained more power and were assigned various roles and responsibilities, including tax collection and law enforcement, which were brought over from England and added responsibilities of overseeing the jails and workhouses. These roles and responsibilities still hold true today. It wasn't until 1821 that Florida law enforcement truly began when the state's first territorial governor, Andrew Jackson, issued the Jackson Ordinance and created Florida's initial 2 counties, Escambia in the west and St. John's in the east. Jackson appointed James Hannum, Sheriff of St. Johns County, and Henry Pear, Sheriff of Escambia County, which established the first law enforcement officers in the state. Today, Florida's sheriffs serve as one of a handful of constitutional Florida offices. What does this mean? Well, it means that the sheriff's power is established by the Florida Constitution and that the person who serves the office of sheriff is elected by the citizens of the county through the general ballot. The duly elected sheriff of a county is the highest law enforcement official within that county. He has law enforcement powers that exceed any other state or federal official. Sheriffs are vested with the authority to appoint deputies to act in their name and are authorized to perform the sheriff's duties. Today, there are more than 30,000 sheriff's office personnel across the state serving 67 counties. In addition to law enforcement and corrections, many sheriff's offices are responsible for the operation of the county jail and providing deputies to serve as bailiffs who provide court security. Sheriff's offices are also responsible for delivering court documents, subpoenas, summons, and complaints on behalf of the Florida Supreme Court, Circuit Court, County Court, and Board of County Commissioners. Florida sheriffs have led several efforts to develop statewide training and accreditation programs to ensure all law enforcement has the latest education and training. Sheriffs are actively involved with their communities through volunteering at local charities and hosting educational events for the public. You will often see the sheriff out in the community working to make a difference every day. Your sheriff is here to serve and protect you. To learn more about all of Florida's 67 sheriffs and how you can support the Office of Sheriff, please visit www.flsheriffs.org.
Each year, Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office School Resource Officers host a free summer day camp that's called Youth Week. This year it took place in June at Ruckle Middle School, Bruner Middle, and Shoal River Middle School. Students got a chance to do a lot of fun activities that teach them everything from how to fingerprint someone to basic defensive tactics and other law enforcement related fun stuff. But probably getting sprayed by the fire hose ranks right up there on their list of the good things to do. Right here we've got the Okaloosa Island Fire Department trying to make sure that everybody that was out there, because it was super hot, was able to get a break from the heat and get doused. The students that take part in Youth Week are between the ages of 10 to 15, and typically the SROs get about 150 to 200 kids to participate each year. Along with hearing from different OCSO units, they get to take field trips to the firing range. They go check out the Destin Coast Guard Station and go out on a boat, and lots of other really neat stuff.
That's right. And speaking of the OCSO school resource officers, they also spearheaded a massive campaign to gather donations for Caruth Camp, connected to the Florida Sheriff's Youth Ranches program designed to help lead kids down the right path. They have now delivered all the canoes, life jackets, sporting goods, and cash from their Cram the Canoe campaign to the boys and girls who took part. Many of the SROs also worked as camp counselors. Now, local high schools got in on the act and had a friendly Cram the Canoe competition. Choctawhatchee High School was recognized for collecting the most goods for the 10 to 15-year-olds who attend the camp. Many thanks to a number of local businesses and individuals who got involved, including Harbor Walk Village and Bass Pro Shops. Remember, last year the OCSO school resource officers donated dozens of bikes for the Caruth campers.
So now on July 21st of this year, the unit picked up the award as the most outstanding SRO program in the entire state of Florida. That was presented by the Florida Association of School Resource Officers. We highlighted the extremely wide-ranging roles of the School Resource Officer unit in last month's show. But if you missed that, you can still go to the agency's YouTube page to see the complete video, and you can find a written overview of this award-winning program on the OCSO website under news releases. We're going to switch gears now and take a look at some of the other people that are wanted in Okaloosa and Walton County on various types of charges. We've got Brendan Tyler Spears, a 28-year-old who's wanted for violating probation on charges of burglary and grand theft of a firearm. Spears was last known to live in Niceville.
And Walton County is looking for 52-year-old Buck Rogers, who is wanted for numerous fraud charges.
Angela Diane Fitzgerald's wanted for grand theft, uttering a forged instrument, and forging a bank check.
Charles Keith Wallace, who is 27, he's wanted for possession of a controlled substance without a prescription.
And you can earn a cash reward if you can help law enforcement locate Brittany Jo Wing to make an arrest for violating probation for trafficking in stolen property, for providing false information to a pawnbroker, and for grand theft.
44-year-old Geronimo Bailon, who's wanted for failure to appear, for felony DUI and driving while license suspended or revoked, and he was last known to live over in Walton County.
This next person wanted by the Walton County Sheriff's Office for an original charge of grand theft auto. Everett Hairston, however, violated probation on that charge, so you need to contact Crime Stoppers if you know where he can be located.
And we're still looking for Emmanuel Uribe Martinez, who is wanted for violation of probation for resisting an officer with violence and loitering and prowling.
And another case out of Walton County, Eric Arsenault, 49 years old, wanted for VOP on a charge of grand theft auto.
Jerome Williams, who's wanted for violation of probation for grand theft, giving false name to a law enforcement officer, and theft, last known to live over in Walton County.
And this next name's been on the list way too long. James Andrew DeBovie, wanted for violating probation on a charge of burglary, theft, and resisting arrest without violence, last known to live in Valparaiso, may have moved out of the area, but if still anyone has any information on him, we'd like to get his name taken off the list.
And a familiar face that's been on the show for a while can be taken off because Stephen Vance Cartwright has been located since our last taping.
And that's what we like to see. And we've got Brad Rodney Dowdy, 30 years old, wanted for VOP on charges of conspiracy to sell narcotics, possession of a controlled substance, and possession of drug paraphernalia.
27-year-old Jason Michael Oliver, who's wanted for violation of probation for grand theft and uttering a forged instrument.
A straightforward one for Stephen George Bostick. He is wanted for fraud.
John Henry Bonner, who is wanted by the Fort Walton Beach Police Department for grand theft in violation of the Pawnbrokers Act and non-payment of child support.
And here's one that Nicole and I have been hoping that it's going to get taken off the list because of the type of charges that you have here. Felony neglect of an elderly person or disabled adult, that is, possession of a controlled substance by misrepresentation, fraud, forgery or deception, and theft. That's Daniel Wesley Arthur, last known to live in Fort Walton Beach.
You've probably seen him on our billboards, our digital billboards up around Okaloosa County as well. Really like to locate him. And we're still looking for Andrew Vincent Aikman, who is wanted for larceny, last known to live in Pensacola.
The last known address on Cassius Conan Weathersby was Fort Walton Beach. He's a 44-year-old wanted for uttering a forged instrument.
26-year-old Samuel Edward Thomas III, who's wanted for violation of probation for providing false information to a pawnbroker, false imprisonment, and grand theft, last known to live in Shalimar.
And lastly on this list, Lonzel Knox, 26 years old. Knox is wanted by the Walton County Sheriff's Office on a charge of aggravated battery.
And finally, we have a little change of pace from the norm. Deputy Daryl Culberson from our Marine Unit brought us some pretty neat video from off his GoPro. Now, he handed it to the kids of an off-duty fish and wildlife officer while swimming in the area around Destin.
Yeah, and those kids caught on tape what many of us call a sea cow. It was cruising around in Choctawhatchee Bay over near the Destin Coast Guard Station, and we thought it was pretty neat stuff, wanted to share. So you enjoy this, and we'll see you next time.